Welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by Arby's. On an 82-degree day in downtown Atlanta, you're watching the ACC on ESPN. Inside Bobby Dodd Stadium, Georgia Tech shooting for what would be the biggest win of the Jeff Collins era, as the Yellow Jackets host 20th-ranked Ole Miss. The Rebels, an ascending team in the SEC under third-year head coach Lane Kiffin. Mississippi fans all aboard the Lane train after an outstanding 2021, the program's first ever 10-win regular season. Plus an influx of elite talent as Kiffin built this roster via the transfer portal, bringing in 27 players through the portal. This year, Ole Miss 2-0 record, wins over Troy and Central Arkansas with two different quarterbacks, each with a start. And welcome to the booth, Dave Pasch alongside Dusty Dvorak. We'll check in with Tom Luginbill in a minute. You look at Ole Miss last year, unreal 2021 for them, given what we just said, first ever 10-win regular season in school history. 45% of this roster, though, is new, and they don't even know who the quarterback is, although Jackson Dart will start this game. Lesser competition so far. This will be the biggest challenge yet for Ole Miss. What do you make of the Rebels so far?
I think Lane Kiffin has done a phenomenal job, and it doesn't seem like they're going away anytime soon. As you referenced, rebuilding this roster, he thinks it's his deepest and best roster he's had yet. Got to figure out the quarterback component, but there is talent all over this football team for Ole Miss. Can't wait to see exactly where they fall in the grand scheme of things in the SEC.
So to your point on the quarterbacks, in talking with Lane this week, he said it's minute to minute, it's play to play. I don't know who the starter's going to be. So Jackson Dart will start, but we don't know what'll happen after play one.
And as you said, this is a quarterback contest or competition that has continued to play out longer than Lane Kiffin would want. Nobody has taken the job. Jackson Dart, I think he's the most talented of the two. This throw right here kind of illustrates from different arm angles on the RPO, can put the ball right where it needs to, make throws that few can, but he takes too many chances. On the opposite side of the coin, you've got Luke Altmaier, excellent in the intermediate throws, plays it safe, wish they would take a few more chances and a few more risks. Jackson Dart, he's looked the better of the two to me to this point. He'll get the start. Can't wait to see how this plays out throughout the course of today, Tom.
Yeah, there's no question, Dusty. And listen, this is all about consistency of performance, right? Jackson Dart, according to Lane Kiffin, had the best 3 days in a row of practice that he's had all throughout camp into the fall to this point. That doesn't mean that Luke Altmaier is not going to play. What it means is that Lane Kiffin needed to see Jackson Dart do two things: make good decisions and be about competing to win the job. Compete to win the game, and the job will be yours.
All right, Luke, on the other side, you've got a Georgia Tech team. We talked about Ole Miss winning 10 games last year. Georgia Tech has 10 wins in 3+ seasons under Jeff Collins. Coach told us, we spoke to him the other day, that we're close. Well, got to be better than close because they have yet to get a signature win. This would obviously be it.
Now is the time. You can't continue to say you're close. You just have to get it done. We had them in the opener against Clemson. They played well and at times gave themselves an opportunity to win, but too many mistakes, costly mistakes, shooting themselves in the foot. They cannot allow that to happen here today. They need a moment and a win like today presents here with Ole Miss. And one of the biggest factors, it's the quarterback, Jeff Sims. He needs to let it loose and go play. The talent is there. It needs to be consistently done, play in, play out for Jeff Sims.
Yeah, Coach Collins said, he told Jeff, don't be afraid to be great. You're certainly gifted enough to do that. The highest ranked team Collins and Tech have beaten, number 21 North Carolina last year. They look to upset number 20 Ole Miss. Kickoff from Atlanta is next. Beautiful Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. And a huge game for Georgia Tech. Ole Miss, given the schedule that the Rebels have, playing in the SEC West, obviously they need to go unbeaten in non-conference play to have any chance of the college football playoff, and that's really the next step. Went to a New Year's Six Bowl last year, in year 2 for Lane Kiffin after he took over in the COVID year 2020. A historic 2021 regular season, looking to step it up a notch here in 2022. Ole Miss won the toss and will receive. Jude Kelly will kick it deep to Dayton Wade. The first of two big SEC ACC games. Don't forget tonight, ESPN, Miami at Texas A&M. Popped up in the field of play from the 5-yard line. Wade. And he slips and falls. Otherwise, he might still be running. There was a crease that started to open. But he goes down at the 25. So Jackson Dart started the season opener against Troy. He started 3 games as a true freshman a year ago at USC. Gatorade High School National Player of the Year 2 years ago. He's from the state of Utah. His dad, Brandon, was a player in Salt Lake City for Utah.
Athletic quarterback, big-time arm talent. You'll see him releasing the football, all kinds of different arm angles. He can make any throw on the field. And be a little bit smarter with the football.
And on first down, Zach Evans wrestled to the ground after a gain of 5 by Charlie Thomas. Evans, one of those transfers we were talking about from TCU, who has a ton of talent.
One of the most talented running backs in the country. Home run capability.
Go to him again. He gets the perimeter, has the first down and more, and gets shoved out of bounds. But in Georgia Tech territory, 19-yard gain.
Well, Georgia Tech's going to have to do a good job setting firm edges and keeping Zach Evans inside. If he can get to the perimeter, it's going to be a long day. Excellent speed and blocking off that left edge.
First pass play of the game. Dart setting up and floating it downfield. What a catch inside the 30-yard line by Watkins. Out of bounds inside the 15. Jordan Watkins with his first catch of the season. And it goes for 28 yards.
Love the touch on this pass right here by Jackson Dart. Takes his time, play action, good pocket, and feathers an absolute dime over the shoulder of Watkins.
Check that, 38 yards. Here's Evans between the tackles, down to about the 3. Impressive opening drive here for Ole Miss. This is a Georgia Tech defense that has not played badly through the first 2 games. Rebels going up tempo.
So fast, play action. Watch Trigg here in the red zone.
Evans grabbed by Thomas, trying to power his way to the goal line and in. Touchdown. What a start in less than a minute and a half for the Rebels on the road.
Blink and you might have missed it, Dave. Man, this Ole Miss offense, they go fast. That's what Lane Kiffin wants to do, wants to play with a fast tempo, and you see the power there from Zach Evans as he stretches the football over the goal line. Nice job fighting through the contact, driving the ledge, and finding the end zone.
Jonathan Cruz on for the point after. And it's 7-0 Ole Miss. 36 rushing yards on 4 attempts for Evans, and a touchdown, his 2nd of the season.
We knew this was a high-powered Ole Miss offense, and it lived up to the billing here early. Zach Evans finds the end zone for a quick Ole Miss touchdown.
Zach Evans dominated that first drive. 1 pass from Jackson Dart, but it was on target for 38 yards to set up the Evans touchdown. Not a start that exactly inspires confidence if you're a Georgia Tech fan, giving up 7 points in a minute and 26 seconds. No resistance. That's supposed to be the strong side of the ball for the Yellow Jackets. Kickoff through the end zone, so we'll see if Jeff Sims can answer. Sophomore quarterback who originally committed to Florida State. He's from Jacksonville. In his 3rd year as a starter, battled injury last year, has had moments where he looks like he could be one of the best players in the country, and then other moments that leave you scratching your head. One area the coaches have said, Dusty, is that he has really grown as a leader. It's showing up in a lot of different areas.
He needs to just play more consistently and believe in himself and believe what he sees. He's been hesitant as a player and as a quarterback at times. We saw that last week. He needs to play with supreme confidence and make plays.
From the 25, they're going to run it. Dante Smith trying to bust it to the outside, and he gets about 6 yards. Dumped at the 31. Smith last week had 3 touchdowns against Western Carolina.
100 yards as well. First time a Yellow Jacket running back has had 3 touchdowns in a 100-yard game since 2014. He's been a bright spot here early in that running back room for Georgia Tech.
So again, Sims moving from shotgun to go under center. Smith again, this time bottled up and grounded for no gain. Cedric Johnson in there for Ole Miss, along with Troy Brown, who's one of those transfers, 3-time first-team All-MAC. Played at Central Michigan the last few years.
He's been great for them inside, Dave. Very consistent downhill linebacker and a good tackler. Nice addition to that defense.
Feels like a big third down, even though it's early on. Off play action, Sims out on the edge. Tried to lower the shoulder, and he's wrapped up and tackled by Prince short of the line to gain. It is 4th down.
Really good open field tackle there by the corner. Prince coming up and forcing. But that's kind of one of those moments by Jeff Sims. Just use that speed, get to the perimeter, get to the edge. He's still looking down the field. You'd like to see him tuck it sooner and try to move the chains there, Tom.
Yeah, and Dusty, be the hammer, not the nail, right? I mean, that's you've got about a foot to get once that contact is made. You got to get that first down if you're at home and you're the quarterback of Georgia Tech.
David Shanahan, who's already had 2 punts blocked this year. Both of those were against Clemson. Jordan Watkins is deep, and it gets blocked again. And picked up at the 20-yard line by Cedric Johnson. He was down, though, at the 20. That's the 3rd block given up by the punt team for Georgia Tech. Johnson blocked it and then also fell on the football.
Oh, this is just too easy right here for Cedric Johnson. Almost comes completely clean, takes it right off the foot of the punter, and a disastrous start here for Georgia Tech off the shoot. Just far too easy. We saw that twice against Clemson, and here in the first part of the afternoon, an easy block there for Ole Miss. Right now, set up in prime real estate right there on the edge of the red zone.
Another series here for Jackson Dart, making his 2nd start as a member of the Rebels. 19 years old. He'll try a swing pass, and it was almost picked off by Keon White, who's a really good edge rusher. Transfer from Old Dominion, and they're going to say that it was a backwards pass, so that it's picked up by KJ Wallace and returned inside the 10. Everybody stopped, assuming that was a forward pass. It certainly looked forward from here. Lane Kiffin's on the field yelling at one of the officials, saying that's incomplete. The officials let it play out, though, saying that it was a backwards pass, recovered, and returned inside the 20.
Incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. 2nd down.
Whistle never blew. Georgia Tech hopped on it. It looked like that pass was coming forward, Dave. I think that they're going to look at this quickly and overturn it.
It's an incomplete pass. 2nd down.
So now they changed the ruling on the field to incomplete pass.
Nobody blew a whistle.
Awfully hard to tell, but it does look, based on the receiver, where the receiver was and he was kind of coming towards us, it did look like a forward pass. Good play, though, by Keon White. Guy that got no scholarship offers coming out of high school, went to Old Dominion, made some plays there. Has a chance to be a good ACC player. Here's Judkins, the true freshman, off the left edge for a couple. Brought down by Charlie Thomas, who's become the leader of that Georgia Tech defense.
But Quinshawn Judkins is a name for America to keep an eye on, to get familiar with. Physical runner with the football. First tackler rarely gets him. He's had a great start to the year.
On 3rd and long, they're going to run Judkins here, and it looks like he's got a first down right at the line to gain at the 10. That's got to be disheartening if you're Georgia Tech. You got him in 3rd and long. They run the ball, and they get a first down.
He seeks out contact. I like the patience waiting behind his blockers, and then the forward lean to move the chains.
He's just so powerful downhill. This is the area of the field that they love Judkins, because, again, 3rd and 8, they decide to run it. He can push the pile.
Then they run the ball this effectively. They can play action, and they've got that key weapon in the red zone, Michael Trigg. Got to keep an eye on zero as well.
Transfer from USC, along with Jackson Dart. Quarterback draw. Dart dropped. 1 yard gain. Samari Walton, a 4-year starter at corner, was there on the takedown, and Dart lost his helmet, so he's going to have to come out for a play. And Luke Altmaier, who made his first career start last week against Central Arkansas, he played 5 games as a backup last year to Matt Corral. He'll come in here for this snap. 2nd and goal from the 9. Judkins straight ahead. Met in the hole by Ayinde Ely, their leading tackler.
Well, Ely's had a great start to this season for Georgia Tech. Big physical linebacker at 235 pounds. Nice job getting Judkins on the ground and setting up this 3rd down.
They just ran it on 3rd and long. Will they do it again? Yes. Judkins finds a crease and scores easily. Touchdown, Ole Miss. They run it twice on 3rd down and long, as if to say, no matter what we do, you can't stop us. And Lane Kiffin might be right. It's already 13-0, 5 minutes into the game.
Man, outstanding blocking off the left side. Nick Broker moved from tackle to guard, gets a great seal, and then a kick out there off the left side. Huge gaping hole for Judkins to stroll into the end zone. That's how they draw it up in the offensive line room.
Cruz extra point, barely good. So it's 14-0. An easy touchdown to start the game, then a block punt and recovery by Cedric Johnson, followed by a touchdown run by Judkins, his 2nd of the season. And Ole Miss off to a great start on the road.
College football on ABC is presented by Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats.
Bobby Dodd became the Georgia Tech head coach in 1944, was here for 22 years, won a national title back in 1952. This is the oldest on-campus stadium in FBS. ACC SEC game now, and also tonight on ESPN. Texas A&M, after getting knocked off at home by App State, takes on Miami tonight. Who do you like in that game in College Station?
I think A&M bounces back. I suspect Miami's going to keep it close. I think it's going to be a highly competitive matchup. Max Johnson getting the start tonight. I like Tyler Van Dyke. Can't wait to watch that.
Another kickoff through the end zone, and so Georgia Tech's offense back on the field, trailing 14-0, just over 5 minutes into the game. See how Jeff Sims responds.
Got to make a play, Dave. Got to make a play. At 3rd down, he's going to go back and look at that. I mean, got to leave it all on the field. You go back to that last 3rd down. I'd like to see a little bit more effort, toughness, help will this offense to make some plays.
Sims keeping it, and just not much there. Gang tackled after a 1 yard gain. Otis Reese transferred a couple years ago from Georgia on the initial stick, and at some point they're going to have to throw the ball downfield. They have one pass play longer than 20 yards this season.
You see with this Ole Miss defense, it's a hybrid defense. A lot of defensive backs on the field, 3 safety looks.
McDuffie out to the 30, so it'll be 3rd and manageable. They'll rotate McDuffie in, also Hassan Hall. Remember Jahmyr Gibbs, who was their lead running back last year. He transferred to Alabama.
Brought in Hall, brought in McDuffie, but it's really been Dante Smith who's been the best of the bunch so far here early on in the season. Be looking for number 8, Nate McCullum. He's been the most reliable receiver on this Georgia Tech offense so far this season.
At 3rd and medium in the last drive, couldn't convert. Sims from the pocket, a strike and a 1st down out to the 40-yard line. Nate McCullum, who's been his go-to receiver. That's 8 catches now in the season for Nate.
Well, he's working out of that trip stack right there. He does a nice job off the line of scrimmage, getting off the coverage and finding some open grass, and a good find by Jeff Sims.
That's McCollum in motion. And they hand it off to McDuffie. Gain of 1. We're talking about Nate McCollum. He's wearing number 8. That is the number that the late Demaryius Thomas wore here at Georgia Tech. He's being honored in several ways by Georgia Tech. This is a tribute to DT outside the locker room. They also have his initials and the number 8 at the 25-yard line on the far side to our left. Passed away December of last year. Great NFL player as well. McDuffie keeps his balance, breaks a tackle, and pushed out of bounds at the 46-yard line for a pickup of 6 or 7.
Really nice job there by McDuffie, using that hand to plant on the ground to maintain his balance. And really, what more than likely should have been nothing was a decent pickup to make it 3rd and manageable.
Man, 3rd and manageable is everything they need right here, Dusty. That thing was looking like we were 3rd and 10, and that would have been big trouble for the Jackets.
Sims in trouble, gets rid of it, incomplete. Being pressured that time by J.J. Pegues, so it's 4th down. If Georgia Tech, I mean, you can't punt the ball. You've had it blocked 3 times already this season. If you kick it back to them, they're probably going to score. Don't you go for it here? Too early.
I think it's a little bit too early on your side of the field, given how easily Ole Miss moved the football. But you make a valid point. Based off what we've seen from this punt group so far this season, a lot of faith in their ability to protect the punter.
Got to put your defense on a long field, Dusty. I agree with you. Make Ole Miss earn it.
This time they block Cedric Johnson, which is a start. And the fair catch signal made at the 20 and pulled in by Jordan Watkins. 35-yard punt, probably not what Jeff Collins was looking for, but certainly better than a block recovered at the 20-yard line. Ole Miss offense back on the field, leading 14-0. Already 56 rushing yards, and again twice on 3rd down and long. They just handed the ball off and got chunk plays. 14-0, and the offense is back on the field.
Like the way the interior of that offensive line works together. 64 Nick Broker moving from tackle to guard. Caleb Warren from guard to center. Really good tandem there in the center.
Here's Zach Evans off the right side. Again, running room across the 30. Gain of 11. That offensive line is moving some bodies.
Yes, they are. And you see Zach Evans downhill. That burst through the hole is lethal, Tom.
It sure is. And then he runs right through Ayinde Ile, the #1 tackler on this defense.
Off play action, Dart on the rollout. Back shoulder throw is broken up, incomplete. Near the 50-yard line. It was intended for Kelly. And Jalen King, who's the play caller in the back end, was there defensively. There is a penalty marker down on the far side of the field.
Ineligible receiver downfield. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That is one thing as I watch the film with this offense. So much RPO game built within it. A lot of times those linemen don't know if it's run or pass. You'll notice Ole Miss has a tendency for their offensive linemen to be downfield. And the redshirt freshman, Jaden Williams, got caught on that first down.
Ole Miss comes into this game 11th in the country in rushing through 2 games. 1st and 15, another run play. And this time he's denied. Evans taken down in the backfield by Noah Collins, and Miles Sims stood up and pushed back the right tackle.
Really good job right there by Noah Collins, knocking everything back, changing the line of scrimmage, and creating the tackle for loss.
Second and 16 after a 1-yard loss. It's a screen. Evans juggled it and put it on the ground. Incomplete pass. 3rd down and 16.
Pretty well set up there by Ole Miss. Evans slightly takes his eyes off the football and he puts it on the ground. Crucial 3rd down right here for Georgia Tech to get a stop and find a way to get off the field. One Jonathan Mingo, top target so far for Ole Miss. Had a couple of big splash plays down the field a week ago against Central Arkansas.
And it's just a design quarterback run for Dart. and he's trying to get the corner. He does. It picks up a first down. That's 3 times. 3rd down and long. Design run plays, this time by the quarterback, that go for a huge yardage gain of 20.
Oh, inexcusable right here on 3rd and 16. You got to credit the play call right here by Charlie Weiss Jr. Clearly, Georgia Tech not ready, prepared for that. Well blocked, and an excellent job in the open field by Jackson Dart to convert on 3rd and 16. Devastating for that Georgia Tech defense.
2 new coordinators for Ole Miss. Another design quarterback run. Look at that. Dart had all day as he was getting good protection from Trigg running downfield, the tight end blocking down there. You mentioned Charlie Weiss Jr. First year as the offensive coordinator. He's only 29 years old. He was at USF for a couple years, was also with Kiffin at FAU for a couple years. Judkins on the carry. Gain of only about 4. Obviously Charlie's dad, longtime assistant to Bill Belichick with the Patriots, head coach at Notre Dame and Kansas.
Reuniting with Lane Kiffin here this season. They were together at FAU.
2nd and 6. Dart keeps it. And he comes up short. Brought down by Sims, so 3rd down and a couple.
That's the other element of this, Tom, with this quarterback competition. Jackson Dart, the much more mobile, athletic quarterback, brings the quarterback run game so much part of this offense.
Yeah, there's no question.
Judkins hit in the backfield, and down he goes. Knifing through to make the hit was Ely, transfer from Maryland. Ole Miss looks like it will keep the offense out there for 4th down and 3, so a loss of 1 on the play. Huge here for Georgia Tech to try to get off the field defensively. And they're just going to run it again, and they easily get it again with Judkins. They are sending a message to Georgia Tech with running the ball on 4th and 3, running it in 3rd and 16 and getting 20.
Right behind the center, Caleb Warren, massive hole opens up in the middle of that offensive line for the easy conversion.
And once they get into the red zone, as there's some movement, everybody but the ball, they are 13 of 14 this season already with red zone touchdowns, including 2 for 2 in this game.
Offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's Eli Acker called for that penalty, right guard.
We watched in week 1 this Georgia Tech defense completely shut down the Clemson rushing attack.
Right.
Right now, so far, Ole Miss just running the football at will on this Yellow Jackets defense.
I think the tempo, too, is creating a few issues with Tech as you see him consistently lining up late.
So after the penalty, Dart knocked down in the backfield for a loss. Again, it's Ely making the play. Another negative play. Loss of a couple.
Inside blitz there by the linebackers, a crossfire stunt. Charlie Thomas goes first, Ely comes second. A nice play behind the line of scrimmage to get Dart to the ground.
Dusty, I think they're going to take a shot at some point. With all of this backfield misdirection and action, the ball's going to have to go up over the top pretty quickly here.
That's Mingo. It's a guy that can certainly go to in motion. Dart is looking that way, going for Mingo, incomplete. Mingo wears the number 1 for former Ole Miss star A.J. Brown. That's why he went to Ole Miss. A.J. Brown was his favorite player when he was in high school. He was open there.
Yeah, just a misfire there by Jackson Dart, put a little bit too much out in front. He's got the size that you're looking for. He can stay healthy. They think he can be a featured go-to receiver within this offense.
12th play of the drive, 3rd and 17. Do they dare run the ball again here? Nope. But they will. Dart, and this time he is brought down at the 38-yard line. Noah Collins made sure that he didn't find any running room. Interesting decision here for Lane Kiffin because it's about a 55-yard field goal try. Jonathan Cruz, this is his first year at Ole Miss, but he played at Charlotte and he made a 56-yarder when he was there. But they are going to punt instead, and that's a win for Georgia Tech.
Huge win for Georgia Tech to get off the field. Charlie Weiss went to the well one too many times with the quarterback run game on 3rd and long. Noah Collins said enough's enough as he pulled Dart to the ground.
Frazier Mazine on to punt here. There's a penalty marker down. Ole Miss had a chance, but could not keep it out of the end zone. There are actually 2 penalty flags down, one at the 35 and one at the 5. Jalen Knox had a chance, though, to down that at the 1. Actually, I'm mistaken. There's 3 flags. There's another one over on the far side of the 8.
Georgia Tech had too many players on the field.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Illegal substitution of the defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 4th down.
So now let's see if they go for the field goal. They're going to bring on Jonathan Cruz and try the field goal. So that could cost him 3 points because, again, Cruz has made a 56-yarder in his career, and this will be about a 50-yarder.
Those are the mistakes that have just plagued this Georgia Tech team, Dave. You shoot yourself in the foot. You finally get something good and positive to happen. You get a stop on 3rd down, hit the ball back, and Ole Miss with a chance to get more points.
51-yard try for Cruz. And it's a line drive. It might have been blocked. Might have been tipped. It was a low kick. Georgia Tech gets out of there without giving up points. It looked like Miles Sims may have got a hand on it as we go to Kevin Nagandi.
Dave, time now for our mayhem moment brought to you by Allstate. A ton of mayhem in Syracuse. Under a minute to go. Purdue down by 3. Aiden O'Connell to Payne Durham.
Yeah, great job by O'Connell stepping up, finding a hole in the zone coverage.
But both 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, including one on Durham. So they had to kick from their own 10, and Syracuse gets the ball in midfield. What happens?
No idea why Purdue is in man-to-man coverage in that situation. Should be in soft zone. They weren't. They got burned.
Aronde Gadsden, the touchdown with 7 seconds left. The Qs come back. They win 32-29.
The Alabama of Central New York, Kevin, back on top. Syracuse football is back. It could be 5-0.
Been skipping around here. It's on cloud 9.
No kid.
My phone is blowing up from everybody in the business because obviously there are millions of Syracuse minions in this business, all celebrating right now. Gain of 4.
It's a nice win, by the way.
A great win. 2nd and 6. Time for Sims. Steps up to run. Tripped up. And then gets shoved back close to the line to gain. He may have gotten the first down, though. And that time he took the hit. Austin Keys and A.J. Finley were waiting for Sims, but he did move the sticks.
Love to see that right there from Jeff Sims. Decisive. What he was looking for down the field wasn't available. Big hole there up front. And he takes exactly what he can get, lowers the shoulder, and he gets enough to get a first down.
Hassan Hall, transfer in the backfield. They fake the end around, and a deep shot from Sims. Underthrown, a sliding attempt. Did he pull it in? Yes! Malik Rutherford with the catch inside the 20-yard line. And the Yellow Jackets finally get a big play through the air. 39 yards.
Exactly what they needed. Nice job with the play action. Jeff Sims sold it well. That looks good. Arms underneath that ball for Rutherford. Huge play for Georgia Tech.
Sims, swing pass a little high and incomplete. Big hit by Otis Reese on Hassan Hall. 2nd down.
Take another look at this big play for Georgia Tech. Nice job selling it by Jeff Sims and locating his target. Excellent individual effort there by Rutherford to come up with that football.
Dusty and Dave, like you said earlier, just the 2nd play of more than 20 yards for this offense all year long.
Rutherford last year had 5 catches all season. He's already got 3 this season. 2nd and 10 from the 18-yard line. Sims looking to the sideline. Chip Long is the play caller, the offensive coordinator, former OC at Notre Dame, was at Tulane last year. Sims on the run inside the 15, down to the 10. He's fighting harder now.
Like that.
Gain of 8.
Some toughness, scrappiness. He has arrived, and he's very much in this ball game. Like the play call. A nice pickup to set up 3rd and short situation here for Georgia Tech.
I mean, Dusty, as miserable as that quarter was for Georgia Tech, they have a chance to get right back in the game when we start the 2nd quarter. Ole Miss got whatever it wanted offensively in that 1st quarter. They ran the ball into the end zone twice, and they have a 14-0 lead over the Yellow Jackets after 1. Georgia Tech with a 3rd down and 2 at the Ole Miss 10.
3 tight ends on the left side. As they all shift, they love to run behind that trio.
And here's Hassan Hall breaking a tackle, keeping his feet and getting the 1st down. Aishim Young with the tackle, but it's 1st down and goal for Tech.
Starts to the right. The vision and cutback there by Hassan Hall. The backside was open. It's an excellent find to move the chains. Key conversion there for this offense.
He bounced off of his tight end Luke Benson, kept his balance enough to be able to move the sticks.
Guys, that's 89 Pegues, their best defensive tackle, coming off the field right now, limping.
Transfer from Auburn. It's 1st down and goal for Tech on the 7-yard line, trying to get back in the game despite giving up over 100 rushing yards in the 1st. Sims to the air, and the receiver fell down. Inadvertent contact, apparently. P.J. Harris was the intended receiver. Miles battled in coverage, 2nd down.
Miles Battle got his hand on him, but I agree. I think Harris just lost his footing and fell to the ground. Multiple tight end sets, something Chip Long, the offensive coordinator, loves to utilize. They finally feel they have the personnel to do that.
Empty on 2nd and goal from the 7. Ole Miss bringing pressure off the edge. Sims running away from it, and he's down to about the 4. He gets hammered. A.J. Finley with the tackle. And this goes back to what we said at the outset of the telecast. Jeff Collins has been urging his quarterback, Jeff Sims, to not be afraid to be great, to take chances, to be confident in his ability as a runner and a passer. Let's see if he can make a huge play here on 3rd down and goal from the 5.
And a size mismatch up top.
And Sims throwing a fade, and he overshoots the big guy, E.J. Jenkins, incomplete.
All 6'7" of him, tough to overthrow him, but definite mismatch up top, working on DeAndre Prince, and that ball just, at least got to give your receiver an opportunity to make that catch there, Tom.
Yeah, you know, that's a ball that has to be thrown in a special way. If you got the height advantage, throw it up and high to his back shoulder, and it's a touchdown.
4th down, Georgia Tech going for it. 4th and goal on the 4. Another pass play. Sims from the pocket. Hit, sack, back at the 13-yard line. They turned it over on downs. Tavius Robinson was there for Ole Miss. Georgia Tech comes away with nothing.
Well, good coverage in the end zone, but a better rush by Tavius Robinson. Bull rush comes off, and a big sack on 4th down to get the stop.
The Allstate bus is in College Station, ready for mayhem tonight between Miami and Texas A&M. Tune in at 9 o'clock for college football mayhem. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, Tom Luganville in Atlanta. Georgia Tech just went for it on 4th and goal from the 4. Was that the right decision?
I think it was. Against this Ole Miss high-powered offense, field goals aren't going to get you the win. Execution was the problem, not the decision.
Big running room. Zach Evans breaking a tackle out past the 30. And your point looks a whole heck of a lot better when you watch them run for 20 yards easily on the very next play.
Just big gaping holes up front to this Ole Miss offensive line. Again, Nick Broker getting out in front and paving a path.
Evans gets the carry again, and he's got the corner. Here comes a flag, though. Evans saw it, so he just scooted out of play. Jack Evans, a transfer from TCU, who is a preseason 3rd-team All-America. And, Tom, were you saying at one point when he was in high school, you guys had him number 1 overall?
Yeah.
Now, we lost Luke's mic there. Oh, go ahead, Tom. I think we got you back.
All right, there. Yeah, he was the number 1 overall player in our ESPN 300.
Offense number 1, 10-yard penalty, First down.
And he had some off the field issues his senior year in high school and just wasn't making the best choices. And I got to say, and Dusty, last year when we talked to TCU, we talked to Gary Patterson, he's been nothing but a pleasure. That's 2 coaching staffs now. He's been good in the classroom. He's made good decisions off the field. We obviously know how talented he is. He's just grown up a lot.
Fun player to watch, Dave. Strong, explosive, got a little bit of everything you're looking for. One of the premier backs in all of college football.
And here he is again. This time he gets drilled by Ely. Gain of a couple. Boy, Ely and Charlie Thomas are really good players at inside linebacker for Georgia Tech.
Talked about Ely earlier. He's just really put together a great start to this season. Thomas had to miss the first half a week ago from a targeting call in Clemson, and he's really picked up the slack.
Off play action, Dart, who started the game in trouble, wrapped up. He throws it at the last second. Will they rule it a sack, or do they say that his arm was going forward before he was taken down? Ely had him wrapped up, and they rule it an incomplete pass.
Smart by Dart just to get rid of the football outside the tackle box. And again, we've said Ely's name a lot today.
He's outside the tackle box. He got it back to the line of scrimmage.
Receiver in the area of a pass.
And Malik Heath, number 8,
under further review.
is over there on the sideline.
So they're going to look at this to make sure that Dart was not down. And it was hard to tell. Looked like it was simultaneous. Back in a moment. So ruling on the field overturned, you can clearly see the left leg of Jackson Dart is down. Another great play by Ely.
No question, and a great story in Ely. Junior year of high school, he started having seizures after the season, was diagnosed with encephalitis, lost 35 pounds, was hospitalized, had to reteach himself how to walk. Didn't play his senior year of high school football. Maryland honored a scholarship, ultimately transfers here, and was really turned into one of the premier defensive players for this Georgia Tech football team. Incredible story for Ely.
And on 3rd and 19, Ole Miss just runs the ball, and Evans does not get the first down. You may say, why are you acting surprised? It's just because they've been able to get the first down several times running the ball in 3rd and long, but not that time. They'll have to punt. Ely with the tackle. And Georgia Tech with a nice response defensively after failing on 4th and goal to get into the end zone.
Nice job getting off the field here, a 2nd straight possession. Georgia Tech starting to settle in a little bit against this Ole Miss offense.
Dusty, they may end up having pretty good field position with any type of return here.
Zine on the punt. Toward the sideline and out of bounds. See where they spot that. Should be right around the 30-yard line where it crossed. Yep, at the 31. Georgia Tech's offense on the field, but we come back down 14-10. Week 2 is here. Kick off your Sunday with NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. It includes a one-on-one with Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Then on Monday night, 2 games. Titans-Bills, 7:15 on ESPN. Vikings-Eagles, 8:30 on ABC, ESPN+. Both games on ESPN Deportes. On first down, swing pass to Nate McCullum out in space, and he's tackled for a loss back at the 28-yard line. Markevius Brown, a corner there and on the edge, making the play. So Georgia Tech loses about 3 on first down.
Excellent open field tackle there by Brown. And watching the tape, I've been really impressed. Give Chris Partridge, new defensive coordinator, calling plays for the first time ever, a lot of credit. This is a multiple defense. They play hard. They tackle well.
Takes over for DJ Durkin, who is now at A&M. Was the D coordinator here the last couple of years. Partridge was technically co-coordinator. Smith gets back to the original line of scrimmage and maybe a yard or 2 more before Katie Hill wraps him up, brings up 3rd down and long.
Really added to this defense to DJ Durkin. No multiple. They'll go 3 and 4-man front, primarily in a 3-man, but you'll see 3 high safeties at times, 6 DBs on the field. They bring pressure from all over. Tough for opposing offenses to identify where exactly the pressure's coming from.
They've only given up 13 points this season, the best at Ole Miss through 2 games since 1991.
Man coverage. Watch 23 on the blitz.
Four-man rush. Sims from the pocket. Over the middle. He's got McCollum, and he's trying to get the first down. He does before he's tracked down by Young, but they pick up third down and long, a gain of 10.
And they had 23, Kyrie Coleman, the linebacker, is a spy there for Jeff Sims, and he actually kind of set a pick for McCollum on the shallow cross. Aisheem Young is in man-to-man coverage with him, and his own defender kind of works against him there in the middle of that defense. Nice find by Sims, and quality run after the catch by McCollum.
Back to the run. Hassan Hall, nothing doing. No gain on the play.
Good to see Pegues back out there. Tom had noted earlier he had to come off the field, back in there with a nice stop. Really a nice addition to the interior of that Ole Miss defensive line, Tom.
Yeah, it really is. He's such a gap plugger, and he's going to occupy blockers, which is going to allow Kyrie Coleman, as you mentioned, 23, to be able to roam freely, make tackles. It's a linebacker secondary-based defense.
Although we just saw Coleman hobbling off the field for Ole Miss. Second down and 10 for Georgia Tech. Sims over the middle, right by the official. The catch is made right at the 50-yard line by Harris. That's going to bring up third down. Georgia Tech has been able to move the ball the last few drives, just has not been able to punch it in.
Good find there by Sims. Brought some pressure. Backers came as pluggers. Bill the field opened up. Sims identified it. Got it to P.J. Harris,
who got banged up. Promptly leaves. Third down and 2. I wonder if you're in four-down territory yet for Georgia Tech. Sims on the rollout, and he's going to lose yardage. He gets tattooed. Big hit. Johnson wrapped him up, and then Austin Keys came in and absolutely pummeled him. They lose yardage. We'll see if they go for it.
We want to move the pocket, get Sims out on the edge. Outstanding job by Tysheem Johnson coming up, really forcing Sims back inside. Young helps out to finish him off.
Wonder if they might look at Austin Keys if there was targeting there. They haven't stopped it yet. There was some contact to the head or neck area that looked forcible from Austin Keys, but they're not going to stop it. Georgia Tech is going to punt.
Everybody in the stadium holding their breath.
Yes.
So they're going to take the 5-yard penalty here.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
Are you saying holding your breath because of 3 block punts this season?
That's correct.
Yeah, that'd be right.
One today by Cedric Johnson. I'll give Shanahan a little bit more room here. Jordan Watkins is deep. Jalen Robinson not available today. He's here, but is out for this game, so that's one receiver down, but they really haven't thrown the ball. They just keep running it. Low snap and almost blocked again. Shanahan got rid of it, and on one hop it's scooped up by Watkins. Pinballs forward to about the 24-yard line. Dayton Wade was in the backfield that time. It got close to another block for Ole Miss. This season, Allstate will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to University's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, Allstate. So Jackson Dart started the season opener. Luke Altmaier started week 2. Dart started this game. Altmaier was in there for 1 play, and that was simply because Dart's helmet got knocked off and he had to come out. Dart's only thrown the ball 4 times with 1 completion. There was a drop, but 2 overthrows, and they'll keep it on the ground again. Quinshawn Judkins gets about 4 on first down. So do you get the sense Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss don't trust Jackson Dart yet, or is it simply they're running so well that they don't need to put him in a position where he's got to make plays with his arm?
It's a combination of both, right, Dave? I mean, I am surprised we've only seen 4 pass attempts in this game as we see another run here off the left side, well defended by Georgia Tech. But I mean, 4 pass attempts to I think it's 26 runs. Like, I mean, I get it. You got the lead. No reason to put the ball in harm's way. But don't you want to kind of get Jackson Dart some reps, get him in the flow of this offense, and let him to start to really find himself as the quarterback of this football team?
We'll see if they let him throw it here on 3rd down and long, and he's got a completion to Trigg for a first down out to the 35. They teamed up at USC. transferred together to Oxford. And second completion of the day for Jackson, gain of 10.
Michael Trigg going to be a real weapon for this offense. Outstanding pass catcher and tight end.
Judkins, oh my goodness, look at that running room. Inside the 40 and finally pushed out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. It's a gain of 35 and he wasn't touched till after 30.
I think I've developed a man crush on Nick Broker. I mean, off the left side, just watch the hole he opens up. Big, massive hole that you could drive a truck through off 64 and a big gain.
Might be able to fly a plane through that hole. Here's Judkins again, this time brought down after a pickup of 2 or 3. They liken Judkins to Josh Jacobs, who's with the Raiders, and when Lane Kiffin was an assistant coach at Alabama. And quite the rebound for Lane Kiffin, who started as a head coach with the Raiders when he was in his early 30s. He's 47 years old. He got a long way to go, and obviously very highly thought of as a offensive mind as Evans breaks tackles and scores easily. Touchdown, Ole Miss. .26-yard touchdown for Evans, his second score today.
And I'm sure Lane Kiffin would say, and that's why we're not throwing the football. Because we're able to line up, move people off the ball, and hand it to 2 unbelievably talented backs. You see the explosiveness of Zach Evans in the open field. His vision to find that hole and the acceleration into the end zone, outstanding.
Ole Miss has 202 rushing yards with 5.5 to go in the first half. The point after is good. 3 touchdowns for Ole Miss, all on the ground.
We talk so much about this offensive line, but it's also these running backs. So talented. Zach Evans hits the hole so hard, and the vision to cut back and burst through that hole into the end zone. Winshawn Judkins, we've seen his power on display. As Ole Miss now over 200 yards on the ground here in this first half, Dave.
Well, we said, look, the schedule, Troy and Central Arkansas, that we know a lot more about Ole Miss today, and still a long way to go, but.
Well, guys, when you watch Georgia Tech, too, particularly on those 2 run plays, they were not lined up. So they start off the play at a distinct disadvantage. Now they're not gap sound. To your guys' point, Judkins runs through a hole that you could have driven a Volkswagen through. Georgia Tech's gassed right now. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their body language. The tempo and the big run and not being able to get lined up is chewing them up.
Exactly right, Tom. It's a great point. They get that first down, and this Ole Miss offense goes so fast. Georgia Tech struggling to get those cleats in the ground.
Cruz will kick off. Hassan Hall is deep. For Georgia Tech to have any chance, you got to think something big on special teams, a pick 6, something. Because offensively, other than that one drive, they really have not been able to get anywhere near the red zone. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, Tom Luginbill down on the field. So very impressive for Ole Miss. And obviously they got a very tough schedule. They're coming off a 10-win season. You have to replace Matt Corral. They haven't probably decided yet who that guy is, but man, if you can run the ball like this, it's going to help any young quarterback.
They've been outstanding, no question, and we know the talent is there with Jackson Dart, Luke Altmaier, but they don't need to at this point. They're running the football so effectively and playing such good defense. That side of the ball has been unbelievably sound here this afternoon as well.
Right, think about where they were a couple years ago defensively. Yeah. When Lane got there, they really were not good on that side of the ball. Much improved defensively. Here's McDuffie with the carry, picked up and dropped. True freshman Davison Igbinosun with the stop. No gain.
Igbinosun would just rave about this young true freshman starting at cornerback for this defense. As impressive a fall camp as anybody on this Rebels defense. Got good length, good cover skills. We see him come up and insert himself in the run game.
Sims to the air on second down, pump fake. Looking to run, crosses the 30, flag down. Sims eventually brought down about a yard short of the line to gain, but it's coming back.
Holding, offense number 54, 10-yard penalty, second down.
It's on Jordan Williams, so instead of a gain of 9, loss of about 10, and at some point you start wondering, where's the fight from Georgia Tech? Obviously, mentioned the mental issues getting lined up, but is there going to be fight from this group? We saw it against Clemson. They were in that game midway through the third quarter. Here's a screen, and the running back fell down. McDuffie couldn't keep his feet. And it's those kind of things that we continue to see. Mental errors, guys tripping. It's hard to get anything going when you keep stumbling over yourself.
Literally and figuratively.
Correct. Thank you.
Dylan McDuffie trips over Franklin Tom.
Yeah, and it does. This isn't a team that makes their own breaks. And then when they rarely get one, they struggle to capitalize on it. They just can't seem to get anything good to happen for them.
Ole Miss has 8 guys deep on 3rd down and long. Sims, though, somehow finds an open receiver. Here comes a flag. That was a huge hit by A.J. Finley after the catch was made by Carter. The catch was close to a first down, but the penalty will certainly make it a first down. Gain of 18, so they're going to mark him short.
Personal foul.
But
targeting. Defense number 8. That play is under further review.
Troy Brown comes in, Dave, with his shoulder as Carter catches that football over the middle of the field.
Take another look here.
That is a defenseless player, the wide receiver. And even if you don't use the crown of the helmet, he is protected in the head or neck area. But he comes in sideways with his shoulder to deliver that blow.
Yeah, you see the contact there to the head.
You're correct.
So that'll be an ejection for Troy Brown. Since this happened in the first half, he will be able to play next week when Ole Miss faces Tulsa. And they may not need Brown the rest of this game anyway with the way the defense is played, but potential momentum shift.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Number 8 is disqualified.
So instead of being off the field, now Georgia Tech has something going with an opportunity to get back in this game. It's the first time that Mississippi has given up a first down via penalty this season.
Troy Brown tried to come in, Dave. He tried to do it right, come in with the shoulder, because you saw still contact in the head or neck area. Unfortunate for the senior linebacker.
He knows it too, and you see some leadership there. Miles Battle, senior from Houston, having a conversation with him. Some of his teammates saying, it's all right. We got you. Here's Sims going downtown. The ball overthrown and incomplete. Malik Rutherford, not sure if he stopped or if he got banged up. You see him put his hand up as if to say maybe needs a breather, so not sure what happened there.
Jeff Sims just way too much on this pass. You like to see the aggressiveness and take the shot.
He's got to bend him over, Dusty. Bend him over to the sideline, and he's got a touchdown.
Again, Georgia Tech hovering around midfield. That's McCollum in motion. McDuffie gets the carry through the arms of Austin Keys and into Ole Miss territory. 3rd down and 7 coming up.
Be so important if Georgia Tech could come away with some points before half, Dave. Get some kind of life, some kind of momentum after keeping this drive alive with that penalty.
They go to Central Florida next week, then at Pitt October 1st. Pressure in the face of Sims, and down he goes back at the 40-yard line. Cedric Johnson having lunch. Got a block punt, now a sack. It's 4th down.
A sack lunch, if you will. Really nice job there by Cedric Johnson. You're going to see him stand up over that guard, work the guard's edge, pierce quick. And really just too easy for Cedric Johnson as he comes scot-free to get an easy sack there on Jeff Sims.
Dusty is a former NFL defensive lineman. What's it like when that hole opens up and it's you and the quarterback?
The most amazing feeling in the world. Time to eat, baby.
The eyes get big, I imagine.
No doubt. Just don't miss.
They get the punt away, and it's fair caught around the 11-yard line by Watkins. 41-yard punt, no return. And let's go to Kevin Nagandi in the studio.
Dave State Farm halftime report just minutes away. Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi with you. Notre Dame in some trouble again at home.
Yeah, and it's the offense. Buckner's out, so Drew Pine is in, but they just seem to have trouble getting the offense going.
Yeah, Bama's ticked off. A great top 25 matchup between BYU and Oregon. We will have highlights coming your way. And a finish you've got to see once again. Syracuse-Purdue. Back to you, Dave. Congrats.
Are you guys wearing the exact same tie? Ken Boog, it looks like it.
Maybe it's matching day because don't know if people realize it or not, but Tom Luganville, Dave Pasch wearing the exact same shirt today. I guess I didn't get the memo.
Well, you're wearing purple, but I mean the ones that we have on by mistake are exact same make, same artist. Although I think the neck size on Luke's, given the size of his head, is about 5 inches bigger. I wasn't talking figuratively, I was talking literally. Malik Heath on the catch, first down.
I didn't get the memo on the prom dress. Look at that. See? Look at that. It's the exact same shirt. And I fill it out a heck of a lot nicer and, you know, smell a little bit better and, I don't know, have more hair, but, I mean, shirt's a shirt.
On your arm, yes, more hair. Evans gets one. See how Ole Miss handles this with 3 timeouts, nearing 2 minutes to go.
We could get a side-by-side and do a who wore it better between Mr. Pasch and Mr. Luganville.
Get a Twitter poll.
Dave has been working out, Tom. I noticed.
Evans again. Going to be 3rd down. Charlie Thomas, Keon White team up on the tackle. Charlie Thomas, great story. Player that's really matured for Georgia Tech. He's become their leader. When this coaching staff got here, he had been kicked off the bowl trip as a freshman. But now he's become one of their most important leaders on defense. Dart gets the first down with his legs. We've seen that athletic ability on full display here today.
Well, play action, get Dart outside the pocket on the boot action. And, man, just looks like a tired Georgia Tech defense. Dart with a nice job getting enough to move the chains.
And at 25 and counting. Play fake. Dart setting up. Going deep. Got a man. It's caught by Mingo. Inside the 35-yard line. Great throw that time by Jackson Dart for 32 yards to Mingo.
Well, there's no pass rush whatsoever. Jackson Dart stands tall in the pocket, and Jackson fires a dart. Right on cue to Mingo, and a nice catch over the shoulder, outstretched arms. We saw a one-handed one a week ago. Nice connection from 2 to 1.
Dart off play action to his check down, overthrows Evans incomplete. Mingo comes into this game 2nd in the SEC in yards per catch at over 21 per game. Battled injury last year, missed 7 games with a foot problem.
The way they can run the football, if he can stay healthy, to be that vertical threat for this offense, he's going to be a problem for opposing defenses all season long.
Judkins on 2nd and 10 on the ground, grabbed at the ankles. There's Charlie Thomas again making a play. 3rd down and long.
Well, you're exactly right, too, on Charlie Thomas. Just a leader of this defense. Such a great story with his maturity. Came in as a safety. Best tackler on this team there at linebacker. Trying to help will this defense to get a stop here before the break.
In trouble. Dart being chased. Throws back across the middle, and it's picked off. Jalen King was there. It didn't appear that Dart saw him, and it's a turnover. That's their 3rd interception of the year. They had 3 all of 2021.
Yeah, and last week, Georgia Tech struggled with keeping contained, and a nice job by Ely getting contained, forcing the errant throw by Jackson Dart. Goes late, back across his body to the middle of the field. And an outstanding job by Jalen King, mirroring the eyes of Jackson Dart, getting in the throwing window and getting the takeaway.
Jason Moore with the pressure. And Georgia Tech, that's big, not giving up any more points here at the end of the first half. Trying to have anything positive to talk about at intermission. Dante Smith up to the 22. We'll see if Georgia Tech runs another play or if that's it.
Dusty, Lane Kiffin was furious after that play from Jackson Dart.
Wonder if we'll see a change at all coming out of half from Luke Altmaier.
Sims on the run. And that's the end of the first half. Fans didn't like that.
That is the end of the half.
Intermission here in Atlanta, 21-0 Ole Miss. We'll send it to Kevin Agandi and Booger McFarland for the halftime report right after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to ESPN College Football presented by Arby's. We are in downtown Atlanta on the Georgia Tech campus. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. And right now it's the team from the SEC in front. Ole Miss leads Georgia Tech 21-0. The Rebels rush for over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in that first half. The only mistake made by Ole Miss was an interception by Jackson Dart at the end of the first half while Ole Miss was trying to add to its total. Dart played every snap of the first half except one, and that was because his helmet came off and he had to come out for a play. Ball falls off the tee. Georgia Tech will get the football to start the third quarter. Tech has one win against a ranked team since Jeff Collins took over 3+ years ago. That was against North Carolina last year. And that game was at Mercedes-Benz, where they just played Clemson a couple weeks ago. So this would be the highest ranked team they've beaten if they somehow can storm back to win this game. But a lot would have to happen. And Georgia Tech will start on the 25-yard line. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, Tom Luganville here as well. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, Dusty, you have to be absolutely ecstatic about what you saw from Ole Miss in the first half, especially with the rushing attack.
It was bully ball. That's what it was the entire first half, just running the football at will on this Georgia Tech defense, and give them a lot of credit. We saw plenty of this rushing attack. The offensive line's been great. The running backs have been great. And on the other side, defensively, Georgia Tech been unable to get their rushing attack going. It's exactly the way Lane Kiffin would like to have it.
Give Ole Miss credit for the defense as well. Yes, Georgia Tech's offense struggled, but the defense for Ole Miss has been really good all year as Smith loses his balance and loses 5 yards. Here's Tom.
Well, guys, I caught up with Lane Kiffin coming out of the locker room, and I said, hey, what did Jackson tell you he saw on that turnover? He looked at me dead in the eye, and he said, Jackson wasn't talking. I was talking. He is not happy with his quarterback. You could tell that by Lane Kiffin's body language on the sideline after the turnover occurred. He said, we've talked so much about being smart with the football. We love you being a riverboat gambler, but you got to play the position correctly.
Nothing doing on the ground again as Smith is wrapped up. No gain. And in talking with Lane this week when we had our production meeting with him, he said this is the most difficult quarterback competition that I can remember.
Yep.
Because both guys are young. Both guys are 19 years old. He said, you know, you kind of forget Matt Corral was a 4-year player. He had played over a 4-year stretch, which is very rare. And it's just taken some time for each young guy to really find himself. Here's Sims on 3rd down and long, near the line to gain at the 35 is Jenkins. They will spot it past the marker for a first down.
Huge conversion there on 3rd down. Love the protection. Give Jeff Sims a nice clean pocket. Locate his big target. A nice confident throw here on this opening drive to convert on 3rd down.
Dusty, when I talked with Jeff Collins going off the field into the locker room, he said, we've put together offensive plays. We can't put together offensive drives. That's what has to happen here.
They did get a first and goal situation but couldn't score. Sims' pass is caught as A.J. Findlay, upset with himself, thought he should have broke on that ball and jumped it and picked it off. Instead, Nate McCullum with a 4-yard gain.
A.J. Findlay just a step off. Nice job in anticipation of that route. And, well, he was a pleasure to talk to with our crew earlier this week. Really the leader of that defense. And there's so many new faces on that Ole Miss defense. He's been a mainstay there for a while. Played some great football.
Play action. Sims in trouble. Steps up and sacked by Austin Keys. But to your point on Findlay, it's his 23rd career start. That's the 4th most on the team. It tells you how new this roster is. 45% of the 2022 roster for Ole Miss is new guys. Keys played some last year, but missed a good part of the season with a knee injury.
And you see right there, Chris Partridge dialing up that pressure. Tysheem Johnson off the edge, gets there initially, and Austin Keys cleans it up.
Now it's 3rd down and 10. They picked up 3rd down and 15 a few plays ago. Sims underneath, and the pass off target. He was going for Dante Smith, 4th down.
Just nothing there down the field, and Sims gets rid of that football quickly. I think he's anticipating that pass rush. Protection actually pretty good there. Tries to find his check down wide of his intended target. Opening drive coming up empty here for Georgia Tech.
Shanahan with a deep kick. Backing up is Watkins on his 15. Past the 25. 35. And scooting out of play at the 41-yard line. Back to Atlanta in a moment after a 20-yard return.
Let's take a look at today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. The Ole Miss rushing attack has been lethal. How about some misdirection with the motion? Excellent blocking as we see a massive hole for Mr. Judkins into the end zone. And Zach Evans, we told you from the onset, he's got home run capability. The vision on this touchdown run outstanding, and the acceleration into the end zone. 216 yards on the ground from that Ole Miss rushing attack. It was potent. Here in the early frame, Georgia Tech gonna have to get a handle on that here in the second half.
And it is Zach Evans starting the game and starting the second half as well, but no gain this time. Kyle Kennard on the stop. In that first half, Evans had 14 carries for $115, 2 touchdowns, an average of 8 yards a pop. Transfer from TCU. From Houston. Look at that, only 9 pass plays. And here's Evans on a little jet sweep, and Georgia Tech not fooled. Pushed out of bounds by Zamari Walton. And hopefully everybody's all right over there on the Ole Miss sideline. Saw a staff member go down, but looks to be okay.
But a better job there by Keon White, the defensive end. Really the prize of this Georgia Tech defensive line. Better job maintaining outside, forcing Evans to go lateral as opposed to getting vertical. Good job.
I was more impressed with the guy holding the second down marker over there. Great throw that time. First down catch, Malik Heath to the 45-yard line. That was a bullet by Dart, 18 yards.
Excellent find on 3rd and long, and they really want Malik Heath to become that next option at wide receiver. No Jalen Robinson here today. Nice conversion on 3rd down.
Dart now being chased by Keon White, and he'll run to the sideline. You were talking about Malik Heath. They want him to step up. He is a transfer from Mississippi State to Ole Miss. And the reason he said, one of the reasons he said he wanted to leave was he said the cowbells were too loud.
Thought you need more cowbell, not less. Sure, Mississippi very happy to have him. Chance to have a big year.
Here's Evans. Finally get him to the ground at the 35, but that's 10 more yards on the ground for Evans.
Nice patient run right there. We've seen the acceleration. He just kind of waited, allowed that hole to form, and it delivers a blow lower in the shoulder at the end of the run.
$125 now on the ground for Evans. He had averaging 92 yards per game coming in through 2 games against Troy and Central Arkansas. Ole Miss has Tulsa next week, then Kentucky, October 1st. 8 SEC teams in the top 25, 4 in the top 10. Play fake. Dart. Wide open is Heath inside the 20. And out of bounds around the 10-yard line. Breakdown in coverage. And it's a gain of 25.
Well, Ely comes on a blitz, and there's no one there in the intermediate zone coverage for Georgia Tech. Malik Heath wide open, and an easy find for Jackson Dart.
Dart will give it to Evans. Grabbed at the ankles at about the 5-yard line. The ball came out. Are they going to rule Evans down? Looks like they will. It was recovered anyway by Ole Miss. But Daquan Dowse got a hold of Evans, and he was down. Judkins is in now. Evans to the sideline, not happy about it apparently. 2nd and goal.
The previous play of the runner being down before the ball was out is under further review.
So they will review this, but remember it was recovered by Ole Miss.
College football presented by Arby's on ABC is brought to you by Popeyes and Duluth Trading Company. Clothing and gear designed and tested to do.
So Ole Miss just gained 5 yards. Unless the ball is fumbled forward out of bounds or it happens on 4th down where only the ball carrier can recover it. If an offensive lineman recovers a forward fumble, and that was a fumble, they overturned the ruling on the field that Evans was down, and the recovery by Jeremy James, it's Ole Miss ball at the 1.
Heads up play by Jeremy James. That ball was clearly out. Big man gets on top of it.
Judkins into the end zone for the touchdown. Two touchdowns for Evans and now 2 for Judkins, and it's 27-0.
It's been the theme of this football game from the onset, Dave. Ole Miss ability just to be able to run the football almost at will on this Georgia Tech offense. Very little doubt where that ball was headed on 2nd down.
And Cruz makes it 28-0. ACC Network Extra with Duke hosting North Carolina A&T at 6 Eastern time, 8 Eastern on ACC Network. It's 5th-ranked Clemson hosting Louisiana Tech. Both games available on the ESPN app. Star defensive lineman for Clemson, Brian Brzee, will not play in that game as tragedy struck the Brzee family this week. Brian's sister, Ella, lost her battle with brain cancer. She had been fighting for about a year and a half. Passed away a couple days ago, so Brian is back with the family.
Tragedy.
Thoughts and prayers to the entire Brzee family and the Clemson family as well.
Absolutely.
So 28-0 Ole Miss leads. Georgia Tech in danger of falling to 10-27 under Jeff Collins in his 4th season. We expected a better showing, certainly early on. It was 14-0 5 minutes into the game. I think Jeff expected a lot better showing. Said they had a good week of practice. His team was in good spirits, and they felt that they were very close and ready for this fight. This will be a touchback, so we'll check in with Kevin in the studio.
Dave, time now for AT&T 5G studio update. Booger likes to say, college kickers, you have one job, do it. We saw it twice. Virginia avoids an upset against Old Dominion. Brendan Farrell, the difference, 16-14. And then UCLA, Nick Barmera, 24 yards out as they would survive and come back to beat South Alabama 32-31. By the way, Boog's tie is more UCLA blue, Dave. Mine is BYU blue. Back to you.
That's okay. All right. I love the descriptions. Oh, my goodness. Jeff Sims gobbled up by Otis Reese. Another negative play, loss of 7.
And it's another edge pressure from Chris Partridge. Now it's Otis Reese. You see so many of these guys, Tysheem Johnson, Otis Reese, amongst many others, just continuing to come off the edge. So difficult for our offensive line quarterback to identify where the pressure's coming from. Been a lot of success early on this season for this defense.
Play action. And they have trouble executing the tight end screen to Luke Benson.
And then Jeff Sims just rushes it, right? That's a screen. And all this pressure that's been coming on him all day just doesn't even allow his tight end time to get set up. Rushes the throw, and it's a wasted second down.
The seeing ghost, Dusty.
So 3rd down and 17. Sims leaving the pocket, taken off, and heads for the sideline. 4th down and about 8. And Georgia Tech will punt it right back to Ole Miss. 3 and out.
That Georgia Tech defense has to go right back out there on the field. And I can assure you, Dave, there is nothing worse than when an offense lines up and just continues to run the football right down your throat. It wears you down, tired, quick 3 and out, right back on the field.
Temperature in the low 80s. It's humid. That snap was off the mark. We've already seen 1 block punt, but he did get it away. And the fair catch made around the 30 by Jordan Watkins. Ole Miss football and a 28-0 lead midway through the 3rd in Atlanta. Take a look at the Taco Bell Live Más student section. Student sections across the country are competing to be the Live Más student section of the year all season long. Bobby Dodd Stadium. This is the 110th year of Bobby Dodd Stadium. Opened in 1913. They've actually been playing on this site since 1905. I read that somewhere. I was not here for that, but they did build it 1913. Ole Miss going back to work with Judkins on the ground. Downed at the 36 for a gain of 5 as Ole Miss continues to pound it. There's an injured Ole Miss player in front of the Georgia Tech bench. Can't see the number, got a helmet off. And that's Malik Heath. You hope that's just a cramp from Malik.
Hate to see that.
Boy,
no question.
He's had a nice day this afternoon.
Yeah, he has.
All right, while they look at Malik, and hopefully he's all right, let's take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Allstate. Georgia, no trouble at all today with South Carolina.
They are loaded, Dave. Holy cow.
All right, we'll get to those rankings at some point, hopefully. Heath getting help to the sideline. There we go. So in Michigan, easily over UConn. How about Oklahoma?
Looked great today, man. That was a statement victory for Brent Venables. An inspired effort we expected from Nebraska. Oklahoma slammed that door shut.
Kentucky is number 9 in the country. Mark Stoops done a terrific job of that program. They'll play Ole Miss in a couple of weeks.
Great game. By the way, he's a Youngstown native, Mark Stoops, playing Youngstown State today. I marvel at Georgia, though, when you look at also what's not there. BYU is in Eugene right now. Oregon working them over a little bit. Makes that Georgia opening week win that much more impressive.
Judkins again with running room. And it's a first down out to the 44-yard line. Judkins a true freshman, but 27 transfers to this Ole Miss team. That makes today even more impressive. Maybe it just took a couple games, even though Ole Miss looked good, but a couple games for everybody to get comfortable. It's cliche, but it's true. They are a well-oiled machine today as Judkins fighting for yardage, but ends up maybe losing one. When you bring in that many new guys and you can be finding her stride in week 3. It's pretty good.
Very impressive. And Charlie Weiss comes in, right? Jeff Levy departed. He's now at Oklahoma, coming in, rekindling that relationship with Lane Kiffin.
Judkins to midfield.
And so, to your point, yes, to see all these things starting to come together so quickly speaks to the job Lane Kiffin's done here. And, with that transfer report, I thought it was fascinating to hear them talk about how detailed they were in selecting the different players they brought in that fit the culture and exactly what they were looking for at Ole Miss.
First down for Judkins to the 40. They lose 14 starters, including their quarterback, Matt Corral, who unfortunately is hurt again and is on injured reserve with the Panthers after getting hurt late last season. But to lose that many starters, and again, Georgia Tech is not a good football team, but still, it's on the road, and they came out and punched him in the mouth early. Now we got an injured Georgia Tech player. Certainly going to build confidence for Ole Miss as the schedule gets tougher here in a couple weeks in Oxford, hosting Kentucky.
Dusty, from a transfer portal perspective, the thing that's so impressive is, to this point, I know it's only week 3, but it doesn't look like they've missed on any of the guys.
Right.
The guys they've invested in that they felt were the right fit, both athletically and culturally, seem to have hit the mark. And you got to be really careful about that, because in many instances, not all of them, but we all know there's guys in the transfer portal and they're there for a reason. And if you've got a strong foundation in culture and you bring in the wrong type of person, you could ruin all that in the wave of a magic wand.
It's a great point, and Chris Partridge touched on that, right? He said, we did our homework.
Yep.
He said it'd blow your mind how much research we did, talking to families, coaches, everybody around these different players, and they were very selective. And man, you're exactly right. They hit the mark on just about every one of these new transfers.
Josh Robinson shaken up for Georgia Tech, getting help to the sideline. Don't forget tonight, another SEC ACC game. Number 13 Miami. Can Mario Cristobal pull it off? Can Jimbo Fisher bounce back? A&M dropped all the way to number 24 after losing at home to Appalachian State. It was a pretty cool scene today to have game day in Boone.
Yeah, that was great. Luke Combs there on the set today. He was fired up and excited about his Mountaineers. I'm fired up and excited about that game tonight. It's going to be excellent. Mario Cristobal trying to bring the U back. It's going to be a lot of tension in College Station if that offense sputters the way that it did a week ago.
Is there ever?
Switching quarterbacks, you got Max Johnson starting now, Haynes King the first 2 games. I like Miami. Who do you guys like tonight?
I like Miami. Had A&M won last week. It's like the perfect storm for A&M to come out and like a snake backed into a corner.
I think it's a close game. I'll take A&M to win a tight one.
Play fake, in trouble, Dart throwing off his back foot, and that is a beautiful throw. Malik Heath, all right, back on the field, and boy, is he ever. That was a great route, 25 yards through the air.
And that is what Jackson Dart brings to the table, a throw that very few quarterbacks can make, falling away off his back foot, an absolute dime to Heath.
Bentley walks in, touchdown, Ole Miss. We've barely seen Ulysses Bentley IV in this game. He promptly comes in and scores to make it 34-0 Ole Miss. 5th rushing touchdown today for the Rebels. Jackson Dart, the transfer from USC, made the big play to get him in scoring position.
How about this throw, though? Outstanding. Falling away and couldn't have been placed any better. And then a massive hole off the right side. Pettis, Brooks opening up a huge hole for Bentley as it's all Rebels here in Atlanta this afternoon.
35-0 with 5:20 to go in the 3rd. All right, time for our Aflac trivia question. With Ole Miss in contention, perhaps to win the SEC based on last year and the way they've started this year. They've won 6 SEC championships. When was their last?
Great question.
No guess? Nobody? Radio silence here from both you guys.
I am going to throw out there, I'm going to say it was won by Manning. And I don't think it's Eli. So I think it's going to be back quite a ways. You have a guess? What do you got? Come on, Dave.
I'm going to say 80-something. 1980 something. Does that sound right? Is that fair? 40 years ago?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Sounds outstanding.
I mean, when you have your first ever 10-win regular season in 2021, it's probably a long time ago that
I would
you won
think
the SEC.
Arch Manning was the quarterback, possibly. Being told the answer up here.
I'm starting to think that maybe the 80s is too generous. That we need to go back even further. 60s?
I think it'd have to be likely in the 60s.
Another touchback. Georgia Tech will start in the 25. And we're not really going to know probably for a couple weeks whether Ole Miss is truly a contender up there with Georgia and Alabama. But Lane Kiffin got this program going in the right direction. Here's the answer to the Affleck trivia question. I'm guessing that neither Lane nor me nor any of you guys were born when, 1963. There you go.
When was Arch Manning there?
I'd have to look it up off the top of my head. I can't remember.
Late
I think
60s.
it was after that.
I was close. It's a better guess than you.
The only original SEC West team without a trip to the SEC championship. Out near the 28-yard line is Hassan Hall. Gain of about 4 that time. That was a pass, excuse me. This is a run. Hall, wow, torpedo in the backfield. Ladarius Tennyson, what a head, came flying into the backfield. The Auburn transfer and drilling the ball carrier.
It's these defensive backs setting the edge for this defense of Chris Partridge. You saw it on film coming in the first 2 games, and it's been on display all throughout this ball game. Whether it's pressure on the quarterback or setting firm edges in the run game, it's been outstanding all day long.
7 tackles for a loss for Ole Miss. They rush 4. Sims knocked away, incomplete. It's intended for Harris, and Hasheem Young was there to break it up.
And you could tell Hasheem Young just reading the eyes of the quarterback. Jeff Sims stared that down the whole way. Nice break on the football. Gets that right arm in to get the PBU. Another transfer. He was at Iowa State. Phenomenal safety there. Accustomed to this 3 safety look that he's playing here with Chris Partridge. Another quality addition by Lane Kiffin and the staff.
Jordan Watkins is deep. David Shanahan on to punt. Every punt has been an adventure for Georgia Tech this year. Already 3 blocked kicks, including 1 today. The last snap was a little bit off the mark, and now you got movement by Georgia Tech. Ole Miss was jumping around on the line of scrimmage.
False start. Offense. Number 10. 4th down.
Just seems to be a lack of discipline. I don't know if it's lack of focus, but just the penalties, the mistakes.
Yes and yes. It's a lack of both. Discipline, focus, attention to detail. You can check every box.
Jonathan Mingo is the punt returner this time. Shanahan's kick is high. And fair caught at the 32. Now a quick word from Cheez-It.
The cheesiest chain for the cheesiest cheese.
Give me that. You don't need it.
To be the cheesiest, gotta snatch that chain.
Wait, how'd you? We need another chain. Cheese it. Feeling the cheesiest.
That sounds good right about now. Not necessarily the block of cheese. That's an announcer's nightmare. But the Cheez-Its, now you can have all those you want.
Would you stop it? You were supposed to get me the necklace. When?
That's Marty's. It's property of Marty Smith. You're gonna have to call him.
I thought you were gonna hook me up, Dave.
I don't have that much juice. It's Marty's. I'm not gonna go take it from him.
I'm still stuffed from the bowl game.
That's right. We did have the Cheez-It Bowl. They hooked us up.
See the numbers for Jackson Dart. It feels like he's played better than those numbers would tell you. Play fake, and Dart again on the money to Mingo. Wow, that was an excellent throw by the USC transfer. 15
I like the
yards.
catch. How about the strong hands by Jonathan Mingo? And that's going to be a connection to keep an eye on. You run it this well, and you're able to play action, climbing the ladder, strong hands, bringing it in on the post. Nice hookup from Jackson Dart to Jonathan Mingo.
Second catch for Mingo. Boy, if he could stay healthy this year after missing about half of last season. Dart. Mingo again. What a catch. And he stays in bounds. No, they're going to say out of bounds, but man, was that gorgeous.
Wow. How about that? Love the throw, outside shoulder or back shoulder throw. Coverage is tight by Walton, but it's a great throw and better catch. Body positioning as he contorts, catches that football before he steps out of bounds.
He definitely stepped out. Here's a shot to the end zone, incomplete, going for J.J. Henry. But how about the way on both of those receptions, Mingo just went and got the ball.
Yeah. Attacking the football. And again, go back to last week, first play of the game, when they had against Central Arkansas. Ball was underthrown, he came back and he got the football. Highlight reel, one-handed catch. That's exactly what he'll do. Ball's in the air, he's going to go fight for it.
Bentley stumbles, picks up a yard. Would imagine with another score that we'll see Luke Altmaier. Again, he's only been out there for one play. Keep in mind, Lane Kiffin told us this week that he was going to wait until the night before to make a decision on who would start after Altmaier started last week and Dart started the season opener. It looks like Dart's team right now. But again, Kiffin said that it's been day to day in terms of who the better quarterback's been. Toughest competition he's been a part of. Dart flushed out of the pocket, takes off here, and lowers the shoulder and trucks the defender, Jalen King. Wow. Oh my goodness. Did not see that coming. I don't think King did either.
Holy cow. Get off the tracks when the dart's coming through. And you'd love to see that if you're a teammate. Now we have 4th and short coming up. They're going to go for it.
And Bentley going to be close at the 17-yard line.
That will win a locker room over right there from Jackson Dart. Defensively, offensively, you want to play with guys like that. And that's similar to the mindset that the former quarterback Matt Corral had for this Ole Miss football team. And on the opposite side, we've seen some questionable just stepping out of bounds by the Georgia Tech quarterback. This is flat out, come get you some. There's a first down to get, and I'm leaving it all on the field. Those are the type of players and quarterbacks you want to go to battle with. And I firmly feel today, even coming into today, I thought Jackson Dart was the better player, but doesn't it just feel like this is Jackson Dart's team, Tom?
It does. And, you know, just like we talked about when we came on air today, he's a gunslinger. He's a riverboat gambler. So you're going to see some risky plays with the ball, but then you're also going to get that stuff. You're going to get the swagger. You're going to get the lowering of the shoulder. You're going to get all that tough, gritty type of things, and you got to take the bad with the good.
Yeah, he's from the state of Utah. It's where he grew up. His dad, Brandon, was a player, a safety at Utah. Started out his college career at USC, played in 6 games, 3 starts as a true freshman last year, then transferred to Ole Miss. Bentley finds some running room off the right side, able to get rid of one defender, then gang tackle at the 11-yard line, pickup of about 6 or 7.
And I think he can work through some of that, Tom. I mean, he's got that gunslinger mentality.
Yeah.
We saw that with the interception, some head-scratching throws he'll make at times, but man, the upside, the ceiling is just so high with this young quarterback.
2nd and 3. Bentley again, this time running to the left, and maybe a yard.
Dusty, he just oozes talent, right? So you see him and you watch him, you know, change his arm angles, and you see him drop the ball in the basket like we've seen him do a handful of times today. And just the way he carries himself. He knows he's a good player. Now what he has to do is actually play. We forget he hasn't played a lot.
Bentley hogtied in the backfield and thrown down. Kilo stone for Georgia Tech. So it's a 4th down. See what Ole Miss does. 4th and 3.
Shoved by Stone right there, changing the line of scrimmage. A little fight left in him.
Oh my gosh, a huddle. What is going on? on.
It's just a sugar huddle.
Oh, that's right. It was a sugar huddle. You're right.
Going for it on 4th down and 3. Roll out. And a completion. First down to the 5 and out of bounds. Watkins, 1st and goal.
So good outside the pocket. Just a little play action, boot action, and a dump down, easy pass to Jordan Watkins out of the backfield.
First and goal on the 2. Bentley diving, comes up short. See if they snap it before the end of the quarter. Trying to run one more play here before we go to the 4th. And Bentley's in for the touchdown. 41-0.
We've talked about it all day. Left guard, Nick Broker, he better get a game ball, as well as the center, Caleb Bourne. This entire offensive line has been outstanding. Just a massive hole my partner Dave Pash could have walked through into the end zone.
That's 6 rushing touchdowns, 2 by 3 different running backs. Quinshawn Judkins with 2, Zach Evans with 2, and now Ulysses Bentley with 2 rushing touchdowns. It's 42-0. Again, we thought that even though Ole Miss was a significant favorite, that Georgia Tech would put up more of a fight, but it's 42-0. It's extra yard for Teachers Week. Here's Ole Miss wide receiver Jonathan Mingo on a teacher who impacted his life.
A teacher that really had a big impact on my life growing up in high school would probably be my 11th grade history teacher, David Sanson Jr. He was a very loving teacher. I always cared for all of the students and always showed me there was more than being an athlete, and I can be more than an athlete outside the football field. I appreciate everything he did for me.
And this week, college football is coming together to recognize the important role of teachers and their impressive effort to support the development of each of their students, often both inside and outside of the classroom. On behalf of the College Football Playoff Foundation and ESPN, we've donated a $1,000 Donors Choose gift card to Brandon High School to use towards school resources and supplies. Brandon High School in Mississippi, where Jonathan grew up and wanted to come to Ole Miss in part because his favorite player when he was in high school was A.J. Brown. Where's Brown's number? Touchback. Georgia Tech will start on the 25 with just a couple seconds left here in the quarter.
Coaches said he had a great attitude, calming force. Feels like a potential for a massive breakout season that they always thought was there for Jonathan Mingo. Key for him just going to be to stay healthy. If he can, it'll be fun to watch him throughout the course of this year.
So good when contested, Dusty.
Yeah.
21-point quarter for Ole Miss. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech had 11 yards in the 3rd quarter. Looking for more here on the final play. Incomplete pass intended for Kalani Norris. And that's the end of 3 here in Atlanta. 42-0. Ole Miss looking to go to 3-0. 6 rushing touchdowns on the day, and we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Arby's. Looking like another blowout loss, perhaps another shutout for Georgia Tech. They got trounced 2 shutouts in a row to end last season. Played well for about 2.5 quarters against Clemson. Ended up losing that game by about 20. And then got a win last week as that pass is incomplete to start the 4th. But down 42-0 here. And you think about it. Paul Johnson was here 11 years, went to 2 Orange Bowls, 2 11-win seasons. Chan Gailey was here 6 years, 0 losing seasons. So why, in year 4, is the struggle still here for Jeff Collins and company?
Hasn't been able to turn the corner, and everybody understood when Jeff Collins took this job to remake this roster, especially offensively, from Paul Johnson's offense to more of a pro-style offense. It was going to take some time, but we just have not seen the improvement that Jeff Collins himself had anticipated. And remember, he inherited a bowl team. The last year Paul Johnson was here, they were a bowl team, and does not feel like they're heading anywhere closer to that here early on in this season. If you put it in perspective, Dave, the last 3 Power 5 teams that have played in this stadium have now outscored Georgia Tech 142-0. It's just not good enough.
Remember, too, he's more involved in the defense this year. You got the defensive coordinator is Andrew Thacker, but Jeff Collins has said that he is more involved. And you just wonder, when's the bleeding going to stop? And when are they going to get a win over a Power 5 team? The ACC looks a lot better as Watkins returns it near midfield. Ole Miss going to stick with Jackson Dart when we come back, leading 42-0. Jackson Dart's day is done, but it was a good one. Ole Miss rolling, Dart having a moment with his offensive lineman. Sunday Night Baseball, Dodgers going for win number 100 tonight or tomorrow against the Giants. 7 Eastern, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio. Luke Altmaier in the game at quarterback, hands off for Isaiah Woolard, who ends up losing a yard. But I think when you look at Jackson Dart's numbers, first of all, you know those offensive linemen, like, yeah, we saw you, man, when you ran that dude over. But 10 of 16, 207, no touchdowns, but an interception. But he made some really good throws here in the second half. His best throws were after the mistake at the end of the first half.
Absolutely, and that's what you want to see. How do you respond right before halftime with the turnover, with the mistake? He came back, and he really put together his best quarter of ball here in this game.
Penalty marker is down after that run by Woolard.
Hey, Dusty, you know, it's interesting, too. Not only is it how you respond, but he took a you-know-what chewing big time. I mean, Lane said it was a one-sided conversation. So not only did he get chewed down.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty, second out.
After throwing a pick, now you got to wait 16 minutes in the locker room to come back and redeem yourself.
Well, and Lane told us this week, right, that it really needed to coach him the way that they wanted him to be coached. And when they got him, there was a lot. Obviously, the talent is clearly there, but there's a lot of things that they've been working with, fine-tuning, and to your point, Tom, to see him take that coaching and it translate on the field is huge.
Another flag down after Altmaier grounds the screen pass. Altmaier, you saw the bio there for the 19-year-old.
Offense number 13, 10-yard penalty, second out.
So another holding call. Lane told us also that after the experience at Florida Atlantic, when you're working with kids who the only thing they're thinking about isn't the NFL, like you're going to Florida Atlantic, that's not the first thought. It gave them a different perspective on developing a quarterback.
Third down.
And not just a quarterback, but all the players in terms of the things that they're thinking about, and as a coach, how you mentor those kids. And he said it really helped him for this job.
And again, we're talking about Jackson Dart bouncing back from adversity. How about the way Lane Kiffin's bounced back from adversity? I mean, being left on a tarmac at USC to going to Alabama, reinventing himself, changing his offense, and now just doing a stellar job here at Ole Miss.
Third down, they run the ball. Clock will run, and then they'll punt. He told us there was a book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way that he read that really helped him deal with the aftermath of USC. And remember the unceremonious outing at the Raiders after getting the job at age 31. 1 year at Tennessee, goes back to SC, and then works for Nick Saban as the offensive coordinator, then gets back into the head coaching ring, and now he's got a program that looks like it's going to be a problem in the SEC this year. Fair caught at the 21 by Nate McCullum. Georgia Tech ball when we come back. 2 minutes into the fourth, all Ole Miss. If we just left it at that shot and didn't put up the score, you'd say, my goodness, Ole Miss, it must be an awful day for Lane Kiffin and company. But they're up 42-0, and it tells you, look, it's how you build a program, right? You're never satisfied, even when you're up big against another Power 5 team.
Kind of feels like you're looking at Nick Saban a little bit. How many times have we seen Saban blowing someone out? He's never happy. He's over there stressed out. He's upset, but never satisfied, never being complacent. That's how he's going to continue to help grow this program.
He worked for Saban for a couple years as the offense coordinator. As McDuffie brought down for a loss. All right, so let's get Tom in here again, because this was not planned. Even though Dusty and I are both wearing purple. See the shirt that Tom has on? It's literally I noticed it when I got in the car. The exact same shirt.
It is.
Our lighting's a little bit different. I got to say, sorry, Tom, Dave looks better. So I hate to say it, but
You're standing next to him. You're seeing me from afar.
I mean,
got to get a better vantage point from you.
Just telling you, his is a little bit more fitted. Yours is kind of baggy. I mean,
working and moving. Your guys are booth tulips.
Pick your game up, Pash.
Like a couple of daffodils. I'm down here working.
If you just would chill on the bourbon, you'd fit into the shirt a little bit better, huh?
That's never happening.
Sims complete. Ryan King on the catch and a first down.
That was pretty funny in the car right over there. You were like, Tom, you have the same shirt as me. Like, seriously, you have the exact same shirt as me.
How random was it? We're just driving through the campus at Tech trying to get to the stadium. Hey, Tom.
I did not get the memo, so next week, who knows? Maybe it'll be a trio.
Oh, the things you discuss on national television in a 42-0 game. King flushed out of the pocket. Or Sims, rather, excuse me, and out of bounds. For Jeff Sims, if you're the Georgia Tech coaching staff, Jeff Sims came into the year with so much promise. Like, where are you with Jeff Sims right now? Because it feels like he has regressed from what we saw in person in the first half against Clemson a couple weeks ago, even from what we saw last year when he was healthy.
He had some promising moments against Clemson, and then when you go back and you watch the game against Western Carolina, more inconsistency. We've seen that inconsistency here once again today.
Well, that was a good throw, though, right between two defenders to Luke Benson for a first down.
Nice throw, on time and on target. And they brought in Chris Winkie. Chris Winkie's now the quarterback's coach, and Jeff Collins told us before the first game of the season that he really thought that, as you said, Sims had grown in a lot of ways, leadership-wise, fundamentally, understanding of this offense here with new offensive coordinator Chip Long, and he's going to have to find that before they get into ACC play.
You wonder about where his confidence level is, where his teammates' confidence in him, where's his confidence in his offensive line, as Clowney just absolutely pummeled him, and Jakaya Leftwich, who appeared to be the offensive line they got beat, is shaken up.
Watch the spin move, and he's going to put the ice pick right in his back. On this spin, it's the follow-through, and just a vicious hit there on Jeff Sims.
Wow.
That was Jordan Williams who gave up the sack, not the man that was banged up, Leftwich.
It's an excellent move right there by Clowney. Picture perfect spin move, exactly the way you coach it in the clinic tape.
5 sacks now for Ole Miss. Sims throws underneath on 2nd and 17 to get a little bit back. Rutherford to the 44.
Dusty, you're talking about, Sims. I think the thing that frustrates you is he's so physically gifted.
Yeah.
But the production and the consistency nowhere near matches the talent. So as a coach or a spectator, you watch this guy and you're scratching your head going, what's missing? What's wrong? This can't be happening. And it's frustrating for everybody who watches it.
He's had moments. 359-yard game last year against Pitt. 3 rushing touchdowns in a big game against North Carolina that you referenced earlier, Dave.
McCollum, catch and run, picks up first down on 3rd and 13.
Nate McCollum, a nice weapon and wide receiver for this Georgia Tech offense. He has been somebody who has had some bright spots here this season. Great in space. And you can see if they can just give him some touches and some opportunities, he can be productive.
Came to Georgia Tech as a baseball player as well as a football player. Sims again to the air. That one through the hands of the intended target, Ryan King.
You guys should see Lane Kiffin down here. I mean, seriously, you would think Georgia Tech just scored their 10th touchdown. He is exasperated. He's throwing his paper down. He's squatting and he's putting his hands on his head, putting his head between his knees. I don't know what's going on with him.
You made the point. You said it on the air, and then you said it in the commercial too, Dusty, about you wonder how much of the Saban influence. Covering a lot of Lane Kiffin's games over the years as Sims is sacked for a 6th time. I don't recall seeing him being this demonstrative when things were going this well, and maybe that is from being around Coach Saban, who's never satisfied. And when you see the championships, you say, okay, maybe that's not a bad way to go.
Look, you love seeing your team have success, but the last thing you want them to do is get complacent, feel like they've arrived. And if you stop coaching and you just accept, mistakes or something that you may deem as a coach mediocrity, well, then you have the chance for your team to let off the gas pedal, to take a step back. And you can tell he knows how talented this team is, and he's going to keep that pedal to the metal.
They're still coming after the quarterback, bringing heat, although they rushed 3 here and got a completion on 3rd down and 14 to about the 36-yard line to Dylan Leonard, who had missed the first couple games of the season due to a lower body injury, but is back out there today. So it's 4th down and 5. It's 14-0. Georgia Tech was first and goal from the 7 and couldn't get in. And after that missed opportunity by the Yellow Jackets, Ole Miss turned it on and it was over. But there was a chance in the 2nd quarter for Georgia Tech to get back in the game as a timeout is called here by Ole Miss.
Timeout. Ole Miss. 1st in the half.
We'll step away with 7:22 to go.
We've talked a lot about the Ole Miss offense. How about the defense? Under 200 yards for Georgia Tech, 6 sacks, and it's a lot of these defensive backs and edge pressures by the new defensive coordinator, Chris Partridge, bringing Otis Reese, bringing Tysheem Johnson, Ladarius Tennyson, coming from all different angles. It's been impressive to watch here all day.
Sims on 4th down and 5, chased out of the pocket and sacked. J.J. Hawkins tracks him down for another sack. This is going to be the 8th straight game that Ole Miss has given up fewer than 21 points. That's the longest among Power 5 schools. They've only given up 13 points now in 3 games. The last touchdown they gave up was against Troy in garbage time in the 4th quarter.
There's 28-3 at that point, and a lot of backups, as we're seeing in now, still getting it done for Ole Miss is where that touchdown was scored. Again, schedule is going to get more difficult. We'll find out more, but so far so good, and it's impossible not to be impressed with the personnel, the scheme, everything we're seeing from this Ole Miss football team.
Kevin Agandi in the studio.
Dave reminding you that we've got a 4-box coming your way with all the action from week 3 during the 6 o'clock hour. LSU trailing 6-0 to Mississippi State over on ESPN. Kansas doubling up Houston on ESPNU after a weather delay. How about the Jayhawks at 2-0? Bama in control on the SEC network, and Wake Forest up 20-5 on the ACC network. Back to our triple threat in purple.
It does feel like, as much as there was a lot of chaos last year with, Cincinnati, Michigan making the college football playoff, it feels like it may go to a new level this year. I mean, Kansas potentially going to 3-0 with 2 good wins
Lance
already.
Leipold, wow. Talk about a big-time football coach. What he's done quickly there in Lawrence, nothing short of amazing.
Charlie Thomas shaken up, getting help to the sideline. That's not good news for Georgia Tech, the leader of their defense. Well, I feel badly for Michigan State or Washington, the 2 games that we've had on ABC today that the losing team hasn't scored. I think that'll be much better, though. Michigan State, Washington, ABC prime game coming up, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific.
Michael Penix Jr., a little resurgence this year. He's back with his old OC, Kellen DeBoer.
J.J. Henry to the 40-yard line and run out of bounds. So it's another 20-yard run. A little extracurricular activity over there on the sidelines, but the coaches jump in there, even though the Ole Miss players are waving goodbye.
Like seeing the running back, Isaiah Woolard, get out in front, help spring that run by Henry. Nice block out in front.
You see Troy Brown, who was ejected from the game for targeting one of the coaches, saying we don't need to be doing that now. Another jet sweep. It's considered a pass play to Henry. This time tackled at the 35, so only a 2-yard gain. Luke Altmaier trying to get him some more work. There's a penalty marker down. Look at Lane.
Penalty, first down.
Lane is still working it.
Look at him. Beside himself. I love it, guys. I got to be honest. I mean, the standard you're trying to set, you're going to follow the lead and personality of your head coach.
Accountability, right, Tom? That's what he's demanding from everybody.
Yep.
4 quarters, 60 minutes.
So 1st and 20. Woolard gets the carry. And the senior from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, picks up about 5. 6 touchdowns by the running backs today. 2 for Judkins, 2 for Evans, 2 for Bentley. Now Woolard, who had 4 carries all season, getting an opportunity to get some totes here in the 4th quarter to close this game out. Over 300 rushing yards now on the day. They had over 200 at halftime. It was that first drive. It was on that first drive. Ole Miss went right down the field in a handful of plays, 4 rushing plays. To go down the field in a minute and a half and score a touchdown with 4 of your 5 plays being run plays, that was a message. Woolard dropped for a loss back at the 48.
Definitely set the stage here this afternoon. And then the quick block punt we saw on the ensuing drive from Georgia Tech offensively. It was 14-0 within the first 5 minutes of this ball game. And you're exactly right. A message was sent loud and clear from Ole Miss from the onset.
Would assume that Jackson Dart would be the starter next week against Tulsa.
And then for Georgia Tech, they go to UCF and to Pittsburgh in back-to-back weeks.
Altmaier keeps it this time, pushed out of bounds. That's why I was saying earlier, Dusty, you wonder when's that win over a Power 5 team coming? It's been hard enough the last 3 years with just 10 total wins, including one this year. When is, with the ACC seemingly improved?
Yeah. Big win by Florida State last night, too. You're exactly right. I mean,
Backup quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. I mean, it feels like the ACC had a chance to really have a quality league just about top to bottom this season. There's not a lot of games when you look at the schedule that you can just quickly scratch a W on.
Low snap. Mazine gets the kick away. And it checks up. Down at the 12. 3:55 left in this one. 42-0 Ole Miss. So watch the quarterback here. Jackson Dart, after J.J. Hawkins gets a sack, he comes on the field to celebrate with his defensive lineman.
That's what you want to see out of the leader of your football team. Invested at all times, both sides of the ball.
Sims with a completion to Rutherford. That combined with him getting the first down, running over defender, it speaks volumes about his toughness. And again, every teammate sees that. Every coach sees that.
That's what you want out of your quarterback, out of the leader of your football team. And that's the one area, right? I mean, there's still inexperienced guys. They got to continue to grow. Jackson Dart's got to grow as a player, but also as a leader. And feels like we saw some steps in the right direction, both on the field with his play in the 3rd quarter and from a leadership perspective with some of that interaction with his teammates.
Don't forget, coming up 9 Eastern tonight on ESPN, 13th ranked Miami is in College Station to take on number 24 Texas A&M. The Aggies looking to rebound. Imagine if they lose 2 games out of conference before they have the gauntlet of the SEC West. And Ole Miss will go to A&M A lot of people thought they would be a national championship contender. And look, they're not out of it. If they win the rest of their games, they've got a great chance still to do it. But
as well as they've recruited, not just this past class, but really since Jimbo's been there, it was a head scratcher. They didn't just lose to App State last week. That score was deceiving. App State flat out got after them and gave them nothing throughout the course of that ball game. That's what adds so much intrigue to tonight's matchup with Miami. I mean, so much going positive and right for Mario Cristobal and his ascension, going back to his alma mater, and Texas A&M, to your point, if they drop a second non-conference game, they're in College Station, home of the 12th man. Man.
It seems like Clemson is back. Syracuse won today. You touched down Florida State last night. I know Pitt lost to Tennessee, but still Pitt we know is a good team. North Carolina's 3-0. It doesn't.
Yep.
You kind of surprised when you watch some of the highlights, but they're still 3-0. They still won all those games. You got Wake Forest, Clemson next week. I mean, there's some big games coming up. Big wins already for the ACC and big games coming up for this league.
So glad to see Sam Hartman back last week, healthy, playing well against Vanderbilt.
Pass off the mark, incomplete.
I'm curious, guys, to see what happens with NC State.
We didn't even mention NC State.
Yeah.
Tonight, yeah.
Good game with Tech.
Dangerous Texas Tech coming to town, right? And a lot of off-season hype with the Wolfpack.
And then you got, notable SEC games coming up. Talked about Ole Miss having to go to A&M. That is on October 29th. They host Alabama November 12th. Go to Arkansas. Alabama, Arkansas is October 1st. But that's every year. I mean, we can show that every year.
We'll find out a lot more about this Ole Miss team, right? I mean, there's obviously
What about Mississippi State too?
Mississippi State, they're at LSU right now. I think might have an early lead. We know that division, it is an absolute bear. And look at the last 6 games of the season for this Ole Miss football team. It is daunting, to say the least.
You wonder about Auburn right now. They're losing big at home to Penn State in a game that would have been big for Brian Harsin. But we saw Penn State last week. That's a top 20 team.
That stretch right there, 3 or 4 games on the road. And I know LSU doesn't feel like they've quite gotten there with Brian Kelly, but that's still LSU on the road. And then College Station, any time you play Alabama, we know what that is. And obviously Arkansas with what Sam Pittman's done. It's going to be a character builder for sure, that final stretch for this football team.
Ole Miss has Kentucky in 2 weeks. New quarterback Kincaid Dent is in the game. Quay Davis has the football. Probably 1 or 2 more plays for this game. Dent is a junior who has thrown 4 passes on the season coming into today. Don't forget Michigan State, Washington tonight on ABC. Another big game for the Pac-12. Oregon was trouncing BYU at last look.
That surprises me a lot.
Nice bounce back for Dan Lanning.
Yeah, and Bo Nix.
No question.
And a first down out to the 25. That's kind of been the story. The running backs today, Zach Evans, $134 and 2 touchdowns. Judkins just under 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bentley getting his carries late. He got 2 touchdowns as well. Bobo Miller is in there now at running back for 1 more play, most likely. 6 touchdowns by the running backs.
You love to see it. Anytime you can line up. The offensive line's been great, not pictured there. We showed the running backs, but give a ton of credit to those big guys up front. They were simply sensational, opening up massive holes throughout the course of this ball game. They need to try to strike a little more balance, though, right? I mean, this got really skewed as the game got one-sided, but 61 runs to 19 passes. You'd like to see them continue to grow and build upon that passing attack to keep opposing defenses a little bit more honest.
Right. They lost their top 3 running backs from last year. They know what they have at running back. Question now is Jackson Dart the guy, and do they open it up a little bit more over the next few weeks? Because you're not going to be able to run the ball like you did today against some of those teams we just showed on the upcoming schedule. But they had no problem today. They went right down the field in the first minute and a half, scored a touchdown, and it was on from there. Final 42-0. Ole Miss over Georgia Tech. College football scoreboard with Kevin Negandhi. Booger McFarland is coming up. For Dusty Dvorak, Tom Luganville, our entire ABC crew, I'm Dave Pasch saying so long from Atlanta. Ole Miss, ranked 20th in the country, goes to 3-0 with an impressive win, 42-0 over Georgia Tech.
Steve, thank you so much. We got plenty of highlights right now. Here's what's going on. LSU down 6-0 against Mississippi State. Kansas doubling up Houston over on ESPNU. Bama in control on the SEC network. ACC network. Wake Forest with the lead as well at home. We got highlights coming your way. And Appalachian State winning on a Hail Mary. That's coming your way, as well as Michigan State and Washington will get you set. That's less than an hour. After these messages, highlights, what's going down in Boone. My goodness.